The night was cold and silent, too silent for a storm. Rain poured over the dark forest, hitting the metal of an old human rover. Inside it, Ethan Cole, a lone explorer, stared at his flickering scanner. He had come to this uncharted planet to study minerals, not to find life, but the radar was showing something strange. A heat signal, small, moving, alive. Ethan put on his coat and stepped outside. The storm almost threw him off balance. Lightning flashed across the purple sky, showing tall alien trees bending in the wind. He walked carefully through the mud, following the signal. Each step echoed louder than the thunder. His boots sank deep into the wet ground. The signal grew stronger. Then he saw it, a small crash pod half buried in the dirt, smoke still rising from it. It was not human-made. The metal had a smooth blue glow and strange letters shimmered on its surface. Ethan aimed his flashlight inside. At first he saw only mist. Then something moved. A girl. She was lying there, shaking, her silver skin reflecting the light. Her hair was white like snow, wet and tangled. She looked too young to be a soldier, maybe 16 or 17 in human years. Her eyes were closed, her lips trembling. Ethan's breath caught. "Hey, are you hurt?" She didn't answer. She was shivering, her whole body trembling like she was freezing. Ethan quickly took off his coat and wrapped it around her. "It's okay. You're safe now." Her eyes opened slowly. They were bright blue, glowing faintly in the dark. She looked straight at him, confused, afraid, but there was something else in her gaze too. Something almost human. She whispered something in a language he didn't understand. Her voice was soft, musical, but weak. Ethan spoke gently. "Don't worry. I'll help you." He lifted her out of the pod. She was light, too light, like she was made of air. He carried her back toward the rover, shielding her from the rain. Behind them, the wrecked pod began to hum. The symbols on it glowed brighter, pulsing fast like a heartbeat. Then it exploded with a flash of blue light, shooting sparks into the sky. Ethan dropped to the ground, covering the girl with his body. The sound faded into the rain. When he looked up, the pod was gone, just a smoking crater remained. "What the hell?" he muttered. The girl clung to him, breathing fast. Her skin was cold but soft. He could feel her heartbeat racing against his chest. "Easy," he said. "You're okay." He took her back to his rover and wrapped her in a blanket. Inside, the small lights flickered from the storm. He tried to scan her, but his device just glitched. "Unknown biology," it said. "Yeah, no kidding," Ethan whispered. She sat up slowly, looking around like a scared animal. Her eyes followed every sound. The storm outside roared louder. Ethan handed her a cup of warm water. She didn't take it at first, then sniffed it like she didn't trust it. Finally, she sipped it and a little color returned to her face. He smiled. "There you go." She looked at him, tilting her head, trying to repeat his words. "There you go." Ethan's eyes widened. She was learning. Yeah, that's right. Her name, he later learned, was Lyra. But for now, she couldn't say much. Only fragments, strange syllables mixed with broken human words. Then something strange happened. The light in the rover dimmed for a second. His scanner beeped again, an unknown signal, strong and close. He checked the screen. That's not possible. A large shape was moving toward them from the forest. Bigger than any animal. Fast. Ethan turned off the lights and peered outside. Through the rain, he could see faint red glows, eyes, many of them, moving between the trees. Lyra suddenly pressed her hands to her ears. No, she whispered, trembling. "What is it?" Ethan asked, keeping his voice low. She pointed to the sky. Her glowing eyes widened with terror. Then he heard it, deep, rumbling, mechanical. A ship was above the clouds. Not human, massive. Blue lights scanned the forest below, searching for something. Searching for her, Ethan's pulse raced. "They're looking for you, aren't they?" Lyra didn't answer. She just looked at him with tears in her eyes and whispered one word. "Mother." Before he could react, his scanner went crazy. Dozens of signals appeared around the rover. Something was landing. Ethan grabbed his plasma rifle, heart pounding. "Hold on. I'll keep you safe." She looked at him again, this time with a strange softness. "Safe," she repeated, touching his hand. Outside, the wind howled as shadows began to form in the mist. The scanner beeped faster and faster until it suddenly went silent. The power died. Only the sound of rain and distant thunder remained. Ethan stared out the window, watching the sky turn blue with light from above. Somewhere out there, something ancient and powerful was coming for them. He didn't know who Lyra's mother was. He didn't know what kind of danger he had just invited into his life. But deep inside, he already knew one thing. The night he wrapped the shivering alien girl in his coat was the night humanity's fate changed forever. Rain still fell outside the rover, but inside it was quiet. Too quiet. The power had returned a few minutes ago, flickering weakly through the dim lights. Ethan sat by the window, rifle ready, eyes scanning the forest for movement. Lyra slept on the small bed, wrapped in his coat. Her breathing was soft now, calm. For a moment, she almost looked human. Almost, Ethan whispered to himself. "What did you get yourself into, Cole?" He checked his scanner again. The strange signals that had surrounded them earlier were gone, like they had never existed. But the memory of that massive ship above the clouds still haunted him. Whoever was searching for the girl wasn't done yet. He turned back toward her. Her silver skin reflected the blue light of the control panel. She looked peaceful, but even in sleep her fingers twitched as if she was dreaming of something dark. Ethan sighed and picked up his coat from beside her. It was soaked through, still damp from the rain. As he hung it up to dry, he noticed something strange. A faint glowing mark burned into the fabric. It wasn't there before. A symbol, round like a ring, with 3 small stars inside it. It pulsed slowly like it was alive. Ethan frowned. "What the?" He held the coat under the scanner. The device buzzed, trying to analyze it, but then the screen glitched. For half a second, words flashed in alien letters, then vanished. Ethan looked over at Lyra. She was awake now, sitting up, her glowing eyes fixed on the coat. When she saw the symbol, she gasped, her expression filled with pure fear. "Where?" she said, her voice shaking. "Where it come?" Ethan showed her the fabric. It just appeared. "You know what this means?" She touched the mark gently. The glow from her wrist, the same color, began to shine through the blanket. The same symbol appeared there too, burned into her skin. Ethan stepped back. "That's on you?" She nodded slowly. "Mark of home." "Home?" Ethan repeated. "You mean your planet?" Lyra shook her head. "Not planet. Mother." Ethan's stomach twisted. He remembered her whisper from before. The word mother wasn't love, it was fear. He sat beside her, trying to sound calm. "Lyra, who is your mother?" She didn't answer. Her eyes went blank for a moment, like she was seeing something far away. Outside, thunder rumbled again, but this time it wasn't thunder. It was something deeper. Mechanical, Ethan ran to the window. The rain had lessened, but a strange blue mist was spreading through the trees. It glowed faintly, moving like a living thing. Lyra stood beside him, trembling. "They come." "Who?" She looked up at the sky. "Hunters of the Queen." Before Ethan could ask more, the rover's alarm started to beep. A message flashed on the screen. Unauthorized transmission detected. He grabbed his control panel, trying to shut it down. "Someone's hacking the system." Lyra pressed her hands against her temples, whispering in her language. Her voice was filled with pain. Ethan saw sparks dancing around her fingers, tiny arcs of blue energy. "Hey, stop, you'll burn yourself." The lights flickered, then everything went still. The alarm stopped. The air smelled like ozone. She had shut the signal down. Ethan looked at her in shock. "You did that?" She nodded weakly. "Mother always find through light." "I stopped light. Your mother is tracking you?" Lyra looked away, silent. Ethan took a deep breath. "All right. You need rest. We'll move at dawn," but Lyra grabbed his arm. "No dawn. She see me when sunrise." Ethan stared into her glowing eyes. There was truth in her voice. He nodded slowly. "Then we move now." He began packing the rover, collecting his scanner and rifle. Lyra sat quietly, holding his coat close like it gave her strength. As they prepared to leave, a faint hum filled the air. Ethan froze. Outside, through the fog, a small drone hovered. Metallic, spider-like, scanning the ground with a red beam. Ethan cursed under his breath. Too late. He ducked behind the console, motioning Lyra to stay low. The drone floated closer, stopping right outside the window. For a second, it scanned the rover, then turned away. It was about to leave but Lyra sneezed. The red beam turned instantly. The drone screeched, lasers arming. Ethan fired first. A plasma shot burst through the window, hitting the drone and sending it crashing into the mud. The noise echoed through the forest. Lyra covered her ears. Now they know, she whispered. Now they all know. Ethan looked outside. In the distance, hundreds of red lights appeared between the trees. Dozens of drones, maybe more, all moving toward them. Get in the rover, he shouted. The engine roared to life, wheels spinning in the mud. Blue mist swirled behind them as they sped into the darkness. Lyra clutched his coat, staring back through the window. The mark, now all can see. Ethan didn't understand what she meant until he looked at the rear camera. The coat was still glowing, brighter than before. The symbol pulsed like a beacon, sending a light straight into the sky. Above the clouds, something massive stirred. A deep voice echoed faintly through the radio, not human, not mechanical, but something in between. My daughter has been found. Ethan's hands tightened on the controls. The storm raged harder as the voice repeated, deeper this time. Return the child, or face extinction. The rover sped into the unknown night. Ethan didn't know what kind of war he had just started. He only knew one thing. Lyra's mother was not just coming. She was already here. The rover raced across the wet plains, its tires splashing through puddles of glowing blue mud. The storm still raged above, lightning slicing the night sky. Ethan's hands gripped the controls so tight his knuckles turned white. Beside him, Lyra sat trembling, eyes glowing faintly as she stared out the window. Behind them, in the distance, hundreds of red lights blinked through the trees, drones moving fast. Hold on, Ethan shouted as the rover jumped over a rock. Lyra's voice was small. They will not stop, I noticed, he said through gritted teeth. On the dashboard, his radar flashed red, dozens of signals closing in. Every few seconds, the sound of explosions echoed far behind them. The Queen's hunters were burning through the forest, clearing everything in their path. Ethan switched off the rover's external lights. We need to lose them in the mountains. Lyra shook her head. No safe. Others see everything. Ethan glanced at her, rainwater still dripping from her hair. You keep saying that she sees everything. How, through satellites? Tracking signals? Lyra hesitated. Through blood, Ethan blinked. Your blood? She nodded, her voice trembling. My blood. Hers, same line. She feel me. Always. Ethan didn't understand how that was possible, but the fear in Lyra's voice was real. The rover suddenly jerked as the ground beneath them cracked open. Ethan fought for control, managing to stop just before they plunged into a massive hole. Steam rose from below, an old military vent shaft covered in moss and dust. He jumped out, scanning it quickly. Looks like an old base. Human tech. Lyra stepped out beside him, eyes wide. What is this place? An outpost, Ethan said, pulling open the metal hatch. Maybe 50 years old. We used to fight wars out here before the colonies fell. Lyra tilted her head. You fight war too? Ethan's jaw tightened. Yeah, we all did. They climbed down the ladder into darkness. The air was dry and heavy, filled with the smell of rust and old oil. Ethan turned on his flashlight, the beam cutting through the dust. The walls were covered in faded human symbols, the emblem of the old Earth Defense Alliance. Lyra walked slowly, touching one of the walls. The moment her fingers brushed the metal, the base's systems flickered to life. Lights turned on, humming softly. Ethan stepped back. What did you do? She looked at him, confused. Remember. The monitors along the corridor lit up, showing static and broken files. Ethan tapped one of the screens and a recording started. A human officer's voice, old and tired. Project Seraphine failed. The Queen's army broke through the colonies. We lost Mars, Titan, and the outer stations. Her fleet vanished into the dark, but the war never truly ended. Lyra froze when she heard the name. Seraphine, she whispered. Ethan turned to her. That's your mother's name, isn't it? She nodded slowly, her eyes dimming. Queen Seraphine, ruler of the Azure star system. She make war because humans lie. Ethan frowned. Humans lied. About what? Lyra hesitated. About peace. You promise peace, then burn her world. Ethan felt a cold sting in his chest. Could it be true? Could humanity have started the war? Before he could ask more, a loud metallic sound echoed through the tunnel, a door slamming open somewhere deeper inside. Ethan grabbed his rifle and motioned Lyra to stay back. Someone's here. The lights flickered again. A red glow filled the corridor, followed by the sound of heavy footsteps. Then came a voice, low, mechanical, cold. Return the child. Ethan aimed his rifle toward the shadows. "Who's there?" The figure stepped into the light. It wasn't human. A tall metallic soldier with glowing eyes and armor shaped like insect wings. Its head turned slowly toward Lyra, daughter of Seraphine. "You are summoned to the Mother's Light," Lyra screamed, backing away. "No, I don't go." Ethan fired. The plasma bolt hit the machine square in the chest, but it didn't fall. It only turned its head, sparks flying from the wound. "Resistance," acknowledged. It lunged forward. Ethan fired again, hitting its leg. The machine fell, sparks exploding across the floor. "Run!" Ethan yelled. They ran through the narrow tunnels, their footsteps echoing. Behind them, more voices filled the base. More machines. Target located. Secure the air. They reached a control room at the end of the corridor. Ethan slammed the door shut and started typing on the console. "There's got to be an exit route." Lyra's voice shook. "Mother send them. She know where I am now." Ethan turned to her, sweat dripping down his face. "Then we'll make her lose you." He found an emergency tunnel map, a route leading to the surface. "Got it." Before they could move, the monitors flickered again. This time, the static cleared to show a woman's face. Elegant, beautiful, but terrifying. Her eyes glowed brighter than Lyra's, Queen Seraphine. "Little one," the voice said softly. "You cannot run from blood." Lyra froze. "Mother?" "Come home," the Queen said. "You are not safe with them. Humans destroy everything they touch." Ethan stepped between them. "Stay away from her." Seraphine's eyes shifted to him. "And you, human, you wrapped my daughter in your coat. How strange that mercy still lives in your kind." The image faded into static. Then, silence. Ethan turned to Lyra. She was crying quietly, the blue light from her eyes dimming to pale white. "Ethan," she whispered, "you don't understand. If she finds me, the war starts again." He looked at her, jaw tight. "Then we'll make sure she doesn't." Somewhere above, thunder rolled again, but this time it wasn't from the storm. It was the sound of engines. The hunt had begun. The underground base trembled like a living creature waking from a long nightmare. Dust fell from the ceiling as distant explosions echoed above. The lights flickered red, emergency mode. Ethan's hands were shaking as he reloaded his rifle. His ears still rang from the metallic soldiers' voices, their echo haunting the tunnels. Lyra sat on the cold floor, holding her knees close to her chest. The faint blue light from her skin pulsed weakly in the dark. Ethan looked at her. "You okay?" She didn't answer at first. Her eyes were distant, lost somewhere between fear and guilt. "She found me," she whispered finally. "Mother always find me." Ethan knelt in front of her. "We're still breathing. That means we still have a chance." Lyra looked up at him, her eyes glowing faintly. "You don't understand, Ethan. Mother not just look with eyes. She look with mind. She see through me." Ethan frowned. "She's controlling you." Lyra touched the glowing mark on her wrist. "She try, I fight." But her shadow, always inside. Before Ethan could answer, a deep vibration rolled through the tunnels. The power surged back to life. Monitors along the walls turned on again, this time showing live footage from outside. Ethan's heart skipped a beat. Through the cameras, he saw the forest burning. Huge alien ships floated above the trees, their blue beams scanning the ground like searchlights. "Damn," he muttered. "They're wiping the area clean." Lyra stood, trembling. "She burns to find me. Always same way." Ethan turned to her. "This happened before?" Lyra nodded slowly. "When I run from her the first time? On Vega Colony. She destroy all. My friends, my home. All gone." The sorrow in her voice hit him like a punch. He had seen war before, he'd lost comrades, cities, even whole planets. But this was different. This was personal. He took a breath. "We'll find a way to break the connection. To stop her from tracking you." Lyra looked at him, uncertain. "You help me. Why?" Ethan paused, searching for the right words. "Because you didn't ask to be part of this war, and because no one deserves to be hunted by their own mother." For a brief moment, her lips curved into the smallest smile, but it vanished when a sudden clang echoed from the tunnel outside. Ethan raised his rifle. The metal door shook violently. Something heavy was hitting it from the other side. "Back," he whispered. The door burst open and a blinding blue light flooded the room. Ethan fired, but the bullets vanished mid-air, caught by some invisible force. When the light faded, a figure stepped through. It wasn't a machine this time. It was a woman, tall and regal, dressed in armor made of light. Her silver hair floated as if underwater. Her eyes glowed like twin suns. Lyra gasped. "No, she can't be here." The woman smiled faintly. "Child of mine, I am always where you are." Ethan froze. The voice, it wasn't coming from her mouth. It was echoing inside his head. Lyra stepped back. "You are not real. Projection." The queen tilted her head slightly. "A shadow, yes, but enough to remind you of what you are." Ethan raised his weapon. "Stay away from her." Seraphine's gaze turned to him. For a moment, Ethan couldn't breathe. The weight of her presence pressed against his mind like a mountain. "You protect her," she said, her voice calm, almost curious. "A human defending my blood. How strange. Does your species still believe in mercy?" Ethan's hand trembled, but he didn't lower the rifle. "Mercy's the only thing keeping us human." The queen's expression softened, almost amused. "Human. You will learn mercy is weakness." The holographic shadow lifted a hand. The air rippled. Ethan felt heat explode across his arm as the gun flew from his grip, smashing into the wall. Lyra screamed, rushing forward. "Stop, he helped me!" Seraphine's eyes narrowed. "He pollutes you with human words." Lyra stood tall, her small frame shaking but her eyes burning bright. "He saved me when you would not. He care when you only command." The queen's voice turned cold. "You speak like them. You forget your blood." "I remember," Lyra said softly. "That's why I run." For a moment, silence filled the room. The queen's shadow flickered, her face unreadable. Then she whispered, "You cannot escape destiny, my child." The image vanished, leaving behind only the hum of dying energy. Ethan fell to his knees, gasping for breath. What was that?" Lyra stared at the empty space where her mother's shadow had stood. Her mind, she reached across stars. "I feel her inside my head." Ethan steadied himself. "Then we have to move, now." They packed quickly, taking whatever supplies remained in the base. As they reached the tunnel exit, Ethan stopped. "Lyra, if she's that powerful, how do we fight her?" Lyra looked at him with sad eyes. "We don't fight her, Ethan. We find truth." "Truth?" She nodded. "Humans think she evil. But wars start because humans break promise. You must see what she see. Only then we stop this." Outside, the storm had finally ended. But the sky was still alive, with dozens of alien ships moving like silver ghosts above the clouds. Ethan stared up, realizing the truth he didn't want to face. The war wasn't returning. It had never ended. And somewhere in the endless black sky, the mother's shadow was watching them both. The morning sky glowed red like it was bleeding. Ethan and Lyra stood on the hilltop, watching smoke rise from the forest. The alien fleet floated far above, silent and cold, like predators circling their prey. For a long time, neither of them spoke. The world below them burned quietly. Ethan finally said, "She's not stopping, is she?" Lyra shook her head. "Mother never stop. When she decide, world must kneel." Ethan clenched his fists. "She's going to destroy everything just to find you." Lyra's eyes dimmed. "She not destroy for me. She destroy for memory, for what humans did." Ethan turned toward her. "What humans did? What do you mean?" She didn't answer. Her gaze was locked on the horizon. The ships moved in perfect lines, forming patterns in the clouds, almost beautiful if they weren't so deadly. "She say humans broke promise," Ethan pressed. "But I've seen the old war logs. Your mother killed millions." Lyra's voice was soft, trembling. "She say humans kill first. She show me once. Cities burn on our world, skyfall. She say that was peace." Ethan wanted to argue, but something in her tone stopped him. He remembered the burned villages he'd seen on human colonies. He'd always blamed alien forces. But what if they weren't the only monsters? A distant rumble cut through his thoughts. He turned and saw lights flashing from orbit. Human defense satellites. Lyra gasped. "What is that?" Ethan's heart sank. "That's Earth's response. They think this is an invasion." Within seconds, white trails of missiles streaked upward from hidden bases, disappearing into the clouds. Moments later, the alien ships glowed with blue light and fired back. The sky exploded. Flames, thunder, and lightning ripped through the air. Pieces of burning metal rained down, crashing into the trees. The ground shook beneath their feet. Ethan grabbed Lyra's hand. "We need cover!" They ran toward an old canyon nearby, taking shelter under a half-buried transport ship. The noise outside was deafening. The war that had ended 50 years ago had just started again. Lyra covered her ears, tears streaming down her face. She doesn't want this. She want me back. But Ethan stopped her. Hey, look at me. We're getting through this, you hear me? Her voice broke. You can't stop her. She command fleet across stars. He touched her shoulder. Maybe I can't stop her. But maybe you can. Lyra stared at him, her eyes glowing brighter. Me? You're her daughter. You share her power. You said she sees through you, maybe. Maybe you can make her see us. Lyra hesitated. If I open link, she find us. She kill you. Ethan smiled weakly. Wouldn't be the first time someone tried. Lightning flashed across the sky, and for a moment he saw his reflection in her eyes. Tired, scarred, but still fighting. Lyra nodded slowly. Okay, I try. She closed her eyes, breathing deeply. The air around her shimmered with blue energy. The metal of the wreck vibrated, dust floating into the air. Ethan stepped back as her body began to glow brighter. Her voice was soft but steady. Mother, hear me. At first there was nothing. Then a sound, a deep hum like a distant choir. Ethan felt it in his bones. His rifle shook on the ground, the air grew colder. Then a voice filled the canyon. Lyra, you reach for me at last. The Queen's voice, calm, beautiful, terrifying. Lyra spoke, her eyes still closed. Stop the war, please. It cannot stop. They fired first, Ethan shouted. Because they thought you were invading. You came with warships. The voice turned sharp. Your kind always thinks we are invaders. Even when we came with open hands, Ethan gritted his teeth. That was 50 years ago. Time changes humans, the voice said, but never their fear. Lyra opened her eyes. Mother, please. See what I see? A beam of blue light shot upward from her hands. Images flashed in the air. Ethan saving her in the rain, sharing food, wrapping his coat around her. The Queen's voice went silent for a moment. Then came a whisper. You care for him? Lyra's voice shook. Yes, he protect me. He is good. He is human. I know, she whispered. And I am not only you. The silence that followed was heavier than thunder. Then the light around Lyra flickered. Her body trembled. Ethan stepped forward. Lyra, stop. You're overloading, she screamed as energy exploded from her hands, blasting the ground open. The canyon walls shook. Ethan rushed to her, pulling her close, shielding her as the world seemed to split apart. When the light faded, the sky was quiet again. The alien ships had stopped firing. The human missiles had gone silent. Smoke drifted slowly through the air. Ethan looked at her, heart racing. Lyra, you did it? She looked weak, barely conscious. She only paused. She see now. But her heart still wore. Ethan held her tighter. Then we'll make her feel something else. Lyra smiled faintly. Feel a mercy? Yeah, he whispered. Mercy. Above them, clouds parted slightly, revealing a massive shadow, the Queen's flagship. Descending from orbit. A beam of light illuminated the canyon. Surrounding them both, Lyra whispered. She comes, herself. Ethan looked up, defiant even in the glow. Then let her come. The war was no longer between two races. It was between a mother's vengeance and a daughter's heart. And Ethan was caught between them both. The light swallowed everything. Ethan felt the ground vanish beneath his feet, and suddenly, there was silence. No rain, no thunder, no wind, only weightless stillness. When he opened his eyes, he was standing inside something vast. The walls were made of glass and light, shifting like liquid. Stars floated all around him. In the distance, giant shapes moved, ships the size of cities. He turned around and saw Lyra hovering a few feet away, still glowing faintly. Her eyes flickered between blue and white. Where are we? He whispered, her voice was soft. Inside the mother's ship. Before Ethan could respond, a voice echoed across the endless chamber. Cold, powerful, beautiful. Welcome, human. Queen Seraphine appeared out of the light. She didn't walk, she glided, wrapped in silver armor that seemed alive. Her face looked calm, but her eyes burned with fire. Ethan raised his gun even though he knew it was useless. Let her go. The Queen smiled faintly. You think I would harm my own blood? Ethan's jaw tightened. You already have. You've destroyed half a planet looking for her. Her expression darkened. I destroyed what was already dead. Burned by your kind's betrayal. Ethan frowned. You keep saying that. What betrayal? The Queen turned to Lyra. Show him. Lyra hesitated. Mother, please! Show him, Seraphine repeated. A beam of light burst from the floor, surrounding Ethan. Images flashed before his eyes. A younger Seraphine shaking hands with human diplomats, smiling, building cities together under twin suns. Humans and aliens walking side by side, then explosions, fire raining from the sky, human warships bombing alien cities, screams, flames, the glass towers falling. Ethan stumbled back. No, that's not possible. We made peace. Seraphine's voice echoed calm and deadly. Your peace ended the moment your soldiers saw our power and grew afraid. They killed our children, poisoned our oceans, then called us monsters. Ethan's throat went dry. That was generations ago. Different people. And yet you carry their flag, the Queen said. You wear their badge. You are their echo. Ethan lowered his gun slowly. I wasn't even alive when that happened. But you defend the same world that murdered ours. Lyra stepped between them. Enough, this not fix anything. Seraphine's gaze softened. You think I enjoy this? You think I want more death? I lost everything, my child. I lost your father, your sisters, your home. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. Then why destroy theirs? Seraphine's voice trembled. Because pain teaches truth. Only through fear do they remember what they did. Ethan's anger faded into something else. Pity. He saw not a queen but a mother drowning in grief. He took a step closer. You don't want revenge. You want someone to blame. The Queen's eyes flashed. Careful, human, but Ethan didn't stop. You've been fighting ghosts for 50 years. The people who hurt you are gone. You're just punishing the children of the dead. The air grew heavy. The stars dimmed. Seraphine's shadow loomed larger. And what of your kind, Ethan Cole? Did you not fight for vengeance too? Did you not kill for peace? Ethan froze. Memories hit him like bullets. Battles, fire, screams. The faces of his fallen crew. The orders he followed without question. Lyra looked at him softly. Ethan? He swallowed hard. She's right, he admitted. I did, and it never brought peace. Only more ghosts. Seraphine studied him for a moment. Then her expression changed. Strange. Your heart carries blood of warriors, yet your words carry hope. Ethan met her gaze. Hope's all that's left when war takes everything. For the first time, the Queen looked uncertain. Her voice softened. You protected my daughter. You risked your life for her. Why? Ethan looked at Lyra. Because she reminded me what we forgot. To protect the innocent. Silence filled the vast chamber. Then the Queen turned to Lyra. Do you wish to stay with him? Lyra hesitated. I wish to stay free. The Queen blinked. Free? Yes, Lyra said. Free from war. From hate, from your pain. And his. A tremor shook the ship. The stars outside flickered red. Ethan glanced around. What's happening? Seraphine turned, eyes narrowing. Your world's defense fleet has found us. They are charging their weapons. Ethan's eyes widened. If they fire, both our fleets will burn. The Queen raised her hand, summoning a sphere of energy. Then they will learn the price of defiance. Lyra screamed, Mother, no! She reached out, pressing her hand to her mother's chest. The ship's light changed color, blue, calm. The Queen froze, trembling. Memories flooded through her. The rain, Ethan's coat, Lyra's laughter. Lyra whispered, See what I see, feel what I feel. Seraphine's lips parted slightly. I feel warmth. Then end it, Lyra begged. End the war. Seraphine's body shimmered, her armor cracking like glass. For a moment, the great Queen looked human, fragile and tired. If I end this, they will never trust us again, she said softly. Ethan stepped forward. Then we start over. Silence. Finally, Seraphine lowered her hand. The glowing energy sphere faded into nothing. The ship grew quiet again. The Queen looked at them both, the human and the alien child who defied her, and whispered, Perhaps mercy is not weakness after all. A tear rolled down her silver cheek. Outside, the stars brightened once more. But in the far distance, Ethan noticed something. New signals. Not from Earth or the Queen's fleet. Unknown, massive, moving fast. War had paused, but something far worse was coming. The stars trembled. Inside the great ship of Queen Seraphine, alarms echoed like heartbeats of the universe itself. Blue light pulsed through the glass walls. flickering wildly as new signals filled the air. Unknown ships, fast and countless, approaching from deep space. Ethan stood beside Lyra, staring at the holographic map that glowed in front of them. A sea of red dots moved closer with every second. "What are they?" he asked. Seraphine's voice was low, calm, but her eyes told a different story. "Not human, not mine. Something older." The ship shook as energy waves rolled through the stars. Lyra clutched her mother's arm. "Mother, they follow us?" Seraphine shook her head slowly. "No, my child. They follow you." Lyra's face turned pale. "Me?" Ethan frowned. "What does that mean?" The Queen looked at them both. "When Lyra was born, I made her with power beyond my own. I wanted peace, but my enemies wanted to use her as a weapon. So I hid her, sent her away across the stars. I never knew where she landed, until you found her, Ethan." Ethan's heart sank. "Then those ships are the ones who killed her father," the Queen finished. "They were waiting for her return." The floor trembled again. Outside, flashes of red lightning tore across the darkness. The new fleet was already firing. Seraphine raised her hand, summoning shields of blue energy. "My fleet can hold them for now, but not for long." Lyra stepped forward. "We can talk to them." "They don't have to fight." The Queen turned to her sharply. "No, they are not like us. They consume light. They will destroy all life to feed." Ethan gritted his teeth. "Then we stop them together." Seraphine's gaze softened. "Together?" He nodded. "Humans, your people, all of us. It's the only way." For a moment the Queen said nothing. Then slowly she looked at her daughter. "You believe in him this much?" Lyra nodded. "He showed me what mercy means." The Queen's eyes filled with something Ethan had never seen before. Pride. "Then the choice will be yours, my child." Lyra frowned. "Choice?" "The core of this ship," Seraphine said quietly. "It is a weapon and a heart. It can destroy the enemy fleet, but the energy will burn everything near it, including Earth." Ethan froze. "You can't be serious." "I am," Seraphine said. "Or you can send the energy through yourself. It will destroy them, save both worlds, but you will not survive." Lyra's lips parted. "Me?" Seraphine nodded slowly. "Only your blood can channel that much light." Ethan's voice rose. "There has to be another way." The Queen looked at him gently. "If there was, I would take it." The room fell silent. The hum of the engines, the distant thunder of war, it all faded under the weight of one decision. Lyra turned to Ethan, her eyes soft and sad. "When you found me, I was afraid of everything. You gave me warmth, a name, a home." He shook his head, eyes wet. "Don't do this," she smiled faintly. "You told me mercy is what keeps us human. Maybe it keeps us alive too." Lyra. But she was already walking toward the glowing core at the center of the ship. Blue light surrounded her like fire. Seraphine's hands trembled. "My daughter." Lyra looked back one last time. "Mother, you wanted peace. Now you'll have it." The Queen took a step forward, her voice breaking for the first time. "I can't lose you again." Lyra's eyes glowed brighter. "You won't. You'll feel me in every star." The ship shook violently. Outside, the unknown fleet had surrounded them. Beams of red energy tore through space, striking Seraphine's shields. Ethan ran forward. "Lyra, please!" She looked at him and smiled, the same way she did the night he wrapped his coat around her in the rain. "Thank you for showing me what it means to be free." And then she placed her hands on the core. A blinding light filled the ship. It spread like fire through the stars, washing over everything, the alien fleet, the human satellites, even the dying forest below. For a moment, the entire sky turned blue, brighter than a sunrise. When it faded, the silence that followed was deeper than space itself. The enemy fleet was gone. The Queen's ship drifted quietly above Earth. Ethan lay on the floor, his body weak, eyes burning from the light. "Lyra," he looked up. The core was still glowing, but faintly. Lyra's body was gone. Only her coat remained, floating softly in the air. Seraphine knelt beside it, her tears falling like silver rain. "She is one with the stars now," she whispered. Ethan took the coat, pressing it to his chest. "She saved both worlds." The Queen nodded, her voice trembling. "She gave us what neither side could, understanding." For a long time they sat there in silence, the war finally over. Then Seraphine stood and looked toward the planet below. "You will tell them her story," she said. "You will make them remember." Ethan met her gaze. "I will." The queen turned away, her voice soft as a sigh. Perhaps. One day, humans will learn that peace does not come from victory but from choice. She stepped into the light and vanished. Ethan stood alone, watching the earth slowly turn beneath him. The coat still glowed faintly in his hands, the same symbol shining on it, the mark of two worlds. He smiled sadly. Rest easy, Lyra, you did it. As the ship drifted into the dawn, the first light of morning touched the clouds below, and far across the stars, a faint blue shimmer danced through the night sky, like the heartbeat of a girl who had saved the universe.